755. Yep, you're there. That's all our stuff tonight.
That's all that stuff tonight.
That is all tonight. But a lot of it is the quotes for the generators.
Wow,
So,
that's true. What is there, 2 in Tiffany Lake?
no, just one.
Just one?
Did I put 2 in there? Did I put it twice?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I think you put 2 in there.
Definitely could have. Oh my goodness. Go ahead, Matt. Thank you. Hey, sir. Everything's good. How's it going for you? Okay. Just be safe and we'll, I think, to start with, we're only going to have 3 to start with. It's like Felicia is doing, and that's assuming the vice grip is here. So, but at any rate, just take your time and be safe, and we'll start when we have to. Okay, very good. But be safe. Yes.
How are we doing?
Very good.
Bare middle, I like. Yeah, same. How you doing?
Good, how are you, Maddie?
Good evening.
How are you, sir? There's a lot of people standing out in the parking lot.
You what now?
There's a lot of people standing out in the parking lot.
No, they can't come in, but
That's what I told them.
they might as well go home.
Yep.
Did they look like happy people?
Hard to tell. They didn't look angry, but
Well, there you go. That's it.
there was maybe 4 or 5 of them. Not a whole lot, but a few.
Well, if they're not happy, they can't come in.
They
They
definitely
don't-
can't come in if they're not happy.
Yeah. They don't, if they're not amicable.
How are you? Nice to see you.
Thank you, good to see you too. Things been busy in the office lately, Penny?
Yeah, that's a good thing though.
Mm-hmm. Somehow it stays busy, huh?
Yeah, never a dull day, but it's usually different things, so that's nice. We had a window break today at the office, so that was the excitement of the day.
Now, what would make a window break?
I don't know. I, they said either a bird flew into it, but it's like a, it's like a full wall size.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Shifted in the foundation?
I don't know, yeah.
Oh no, the body of the 11-year-old girl was found. Oh, in the Texas River.
Oh, really?
Mhm. That's sad.
That's a
sad,
shame,
sad.
yeah.
No, thank you, thank you. I guess you got that, you were in,
It's in Miami.
Oh,
It's been a day.
okay. Hopefully, we'll make it a little more easier tonight. Oh, sure, sure, sure.
Hello.
I'm Dave Deck with the SFRTA. Very nice to meet you. Tri-Rail.
Oh, nice to meet you
Very
as
nice
well.
to
Have you
meet
been
you.
with us before?
This is I
Sir?
Plenty of water.
with Ken one time, but I
Mhm.
just checked to see if it was the company.
Okay. I know we had a consortium here a couple of years ago. I don't know whether you were
No,
part of that.
I'm new to the, relatively, I'm still playing the new guy card, but it's been about a year and a half.
Oh, okay, okay. What area are you coming from?
This trip, from Austin, Texas, but this is my ninth,
Right?
ninth.
Okay.
Most of it I was with CSX, and so I moved all over CSX on the freight side.
So you're always connected with trains, though? It's all right.
But I appreciate y'all, like, that's something I want to come over and say.
Thank you, appreciate that.
How you doing?
I'm doing well, how are you?
All right, I reckon.
Could be worse, right?
It could be.
I was in Austin last, it was cold, it's amazing, this is like nice and cool, but it was cold and stuff, I'm going back home.
It's not bad here. It's I know last month this time I was up in New York and it was freezing.
Yes, my wife and I took my son up there, it was crazy.
It was, I'll never forget Saturday morning when we left the hotel to go to our church meeting. 17 degrees and wind blowing. Whew.
And I'm originally from Northeast Ohio, so I should be used to it.
That don't work out.
It's gone. I keep putting on more insulation, hoping it gets better.
It don't work out.
It was very nice to meet you, I'll talk to you in a little bit.
Okay, Doug, good, nice to meet you as well.
Peterbilt.
How your grandsons doing?
Hmm.
How those grandsons doing?
I guess they're doing,
They're taking
I
care of
mean, they're
business?
both working, so
Okay. Taking care of business all right.
maybe it takes a little time, so they've had over a year already.
Mm-hmm.
Wondered if we could bring this closer there and then we could talk. Okay. The keyboard from this direction.
But maybe they're just slow.
Maybe they're just slow.
Just bring it closer there so I can plug it in.
And you're saying that about both of them, huh?
Well, you know, when you have one that's 30, going on 31, one that's 23, you think they would be a little bit of help. Not working out that way.
Not working that way, huh? Unfortunately.
But, I mean, like I said, it's improving, but it's real,
Very
at a
slow.
snail walk.
Oh, wow. I gotta go through my house and get all the council documents out, cause I've got a whole stack of them piling up around my house.
So,
Mary's not here yet, so. Hello, good to see you. I met your husband 2 weeks ago. Doing fine. Good to see you again. You brought her on board, all right. Good, good. Welcome, welcome. Mhm. happened to look at channel 25 yesterday at 10 and 11 last night. Magnolia Park was featured in the show. Well, it wasn't just Magnolia Park, it was Palm Beach County. Good evening.
How's everybody?
All right, how are you?
Doing fine.
Did you see us on TV?
No, what was that about?
On the show, Bad Romances 2020. It featured relationship issues that ended in murder, and the participants worshipped in Magnolia Park in Grafton Ridge. Tammy and Tracy were on there.
Did they live here?
No, but they showed in Grafton Ridge. Tammy and Tracy talking about the family issues and I'll tell you a little bit afterwards.
You do some good things.
Yes, he's been to some conference for one of our presentations and just expressed.
That's early.
Okay, you got your water?
Checked. It's a little warm in here, isn't it?
That's a little
There's a
warm.
little bit of air.
Paper now. Good evening, everyone. We're going to get started in just a moment. Just while we're waiting to get settled, if you have any communication devices like your cell phones, if you can just place those on vibrate, we would appreciate it. Thanks so much. This is yours?
No. I didn't see minutes in the agenda packet. What's listed on the, yeah, they weren't in my packet. Maybe I didn't get the full packet.
Do you have two hard copies, or did you take mine?
No, this is no hard copy. I brought this one with me. It was in my envelope. That I had in my mailbox yesterday. But if you'd like to look at it, you're welcome.
Made a mistake.
Maybe there was an extra
Handful of nuts
Cassie's
for it
making some
came out.
copies.
Man.
Oh, she's making copies of
Bad.
presentation for someone. I don't know why they set it up in this format. So much doing it. What do you do with this?
Try to take off the double pages.
What is that? Oh, okay. Went right back.
Just go to view and disable page.
Oh.
Good evening again, and thanks so much, and we appreciate your patience while we have just a slight delay. At this time, we're going to get ready to get started on our meeting. So at this time, we're going to call the Town of Magnolia Park regular Town Council meeting of February 20th, 2024. My apologies. In the session, roll call, please.
Mayor Alberg,
Here.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
I'm here.
Councilman McConnell,
Here.
Thank you so much, and we do have a quorum. So at this time, let us stand for invocation, please.
Shall we bow? Gracious Lord and Savior, we honor you and magnify your name. We're thankful, Father, that you give us this opportunity to provide plans and the decisions that can benefit and enhance our community. We pray for unity in mind and spirit as we embark upon our meeting this evening. May those in our community, as well as our presenters and any others who may join us, be blessed for being here. And may, Lord, we work to hasten your coming. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. A pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. You may be seated. At this time, we're going to attend to our agenda. Are there any additions, deletions, or substitutions to the agenda?
Mr. Mayor, one deletion under 2A, approval of the minutes of the regular town council meeting for February 6th. We wish to delete that for tonight.
Thank you so much. So noted. Are there any other additions or deletions or substitutions to the agenda?
None from staff.
Hearing none, is there a motion to approve as amended?
So moved that we approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
Has been properly moved and seconded. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. It is carried. And if you're following along with us, and for those who may be with us online, on your agenda, all of those items that might be annotated with an asterisk are for our consent agenda. And for tonight, we have none annotated, but are there any to be considered for the consent agenda?
No, sir.
Hearing none. Thank you so much. We'll continue on our agenda. Our next item, of course, we have some proclamations. And before we begin, we'd just like to welcome our District 7 County Commissioner, Mr. Mike Bernard. Thank you so much for coming and your assistant. And we have others as well who will be presenting from our ethics, the county's Ethics Commission. Thank you for coming as well as all of our presenters and those who are with us. So at this time, we're on item 4A, and this is a legislative update from District 7. And we're going to just welcome to the podium Palm Beach County Commissioner Mike Bernard.
Thank you very much, Ken. Good evening, Mayor and Vice Mayor Sarita Johnson and Council Member. My name is Mac Bernard, County Commissioner for District 7. It's been 7 years as County Commissioner for District 7, and this is my last year as your District 7 County Commissioner. And so I wanted to make sure that we were able to come to the town to provide an update on what's going on throughout the whole county from a holistic perspective. And so it's great to see some of the residents who are here this evening, and also the residents who are listening. I do have my Chief of Staff, Wilnita Emanuel, who's here. And also a lot of the residents are used to working with Willie from our office. And so if you need our office in terms of anything that you need with the county, please reach out to us. Our office number is 561-355-2207. That's 561-355-2207. Well, from the county's perspective, the county's changing completely. The profile of the county is one of only 54 counties nationwide and one of 5 in Florida to earn the AAA rating from all 3 major rating agencies, Fitch Ratings, S&P Global Ratings, and Moody's. Our workforce includes 7,445 positions and ranks second among top service providing employers behind the school district. With our 47 miles of shoreline, we have the 4th best mid-size airport in the United States, 160 golf courses, and more than 110 parks and recreational facilities, which means that we're a robust county offering the best of everything. Our budget in Palm Beach County, when I started, was about $4 billion. And what we did during this past budget year, the Board of County Commissioners reduced the millage to 4.5000. And that's for the 2nd year in a row that we reduced it. The first year that we reduced it, it was just a minor amount. It went from 4.715 to it went from 4.7815 to 4.715. But what we did this year was to make sure that even though values increase, that the residents in the county would see a decrease in their taxes from the county's perspective. Of course, we have different municipalities, and the decisions that are made by different municipalities will impact different taxes. But from the county's perspective, we made sure that we reduced it to make sure that the residents would feel the impact. And the rate that we reduce it to generates about $1.3 billion in property taxes, and our gross budget in Palm Beach County now is $7.9 billion, and of which over $2.2 billion is from the general fund. And what we also did was, although the voters passed the housing bond that we'll talk a little bit more about, but on an annual basis, we have allocated about $10 million a year for workforce and affordable housing. And during this year, we increased it to $15 million just to make sure that we're making sure that we have funding to address workforce and affordable housing. And we'll talk about the bond later down the line. Our comprehensive fiscal year 2024, we have a digital budget book, is available on our website at pbcgov.com, where you can go and take a look at it to see what we're spending our monies on. And what we're looking ahead for 2025, there are considerations that we're looking at for 2025. First, we want to continue to allocate funds to address affordable and workforce housing. We did a survey for Palm Beach County, and where the residents responded, and what I can tell you, that was the #1 issue that our residents are facing throughout the county, which is to create more affordable and workforce housing. Our second priority will be continuing to prioritize our capital improvement program, continuing to build our financial reserves, and preparing for the leveling off of property value increases. We've been experiencing property value increases for the past 3 or 4 years, and at some point we know that they're going to level off, so we have to prepare for that. And for our capital improvement program, we use a pay-as-you-go, which ensures continued operations and reliability, which helps reduce liability by funding projects in a sustainable way. And so now, in terms of economic development and ad valorem tax exemption program, what we're doing is the Florida statute that governs economic development, which pretty much helps small businesses or businesses who wants to move to Palm Beach County. How do we fund it? And so what we did was, it was approved by the voters, and the exemption expires this year. And they may be renewed by a referendum. And so what we're doing for this year is, the ad valorem exemption program has been renewed 3 times in the county beginning in 1994. And so the program expires in August of 2024. So there will be on the ballot in August. The voters will get a chance to decide whether or not we can continue the ad valorem tax exemption program. And if the voters approve, then the authority to grant the exemption is brought to the Board of County Commissioners. And so what the staff is recommending is that the program criteria for these new businesses would be to locate or expanding in a low-income census tract with 80% or less, or a poverty rate of 20% or higher. So we want to make sure that if we're going to provide tax exemption, ad valorem tax exemption, that we're trying to micro-target into some of the areas that needs it the most. And so from 2013 through 2023, the county, we've provided over $6.2 million in ad valorem tax exemption to 6 businesses. In addition to the ad valorem tax exemption program, Palm Beach County has contributed cash incentives totaling $3.9 million. So the combined incentive amounts for these companies during this period from various resources, including municipalities, because we always work with the municipalities. So the county and the state, we've invested over $35.9 million. And what has these investments done for us, which is, it's created over 2,246 jobs that's been retained. and over 2,800 jobs created and capital investment of $428 million. Now, this influx of capital has resulted in an estimated 5-year economic impact of over $5.7 billion. And as we talked about the housing bond, our Department of Housing and Economic Sustainability Department, and I know our town manager, Ken Metcalf, you've worked with Jonathan Brown. And so we have the request for a proposal that's out in the streets where we're breaking it down into 3 different categories. We want to address workforce multifamily housing. We want to address affordable multifamily housing and also for sale housing. And so we have these 3 different RFPs out that are going to be out. So the voters passed $200 million, and our goals are to let those dollars out so in that way we can create units in Palm Beach County. And so the RFPs are going to be due March 7th, 14th, and the 21st of this year. And in April of this year, we have a county finance committee that will be meeting to approve the people who submitted. And what we're hoping is that the developers, CDCs, CRAs would bid for these dollars. And according to our timeline, our goals are by June of this year to pretty much vote on it and let us to start getting those dollars out so we can build affordable and workforce housing. In District 7, projects that are important to District 7, a commercial kitchen project, which I don't know if anybody, were you there, Mr.?
No.
So I wasn't sure, but it was in Lake Park, and it's a project that's because we received a lot of requests from small people who wanted to like provide cooking and baking, but they didn't have a commercial kitchen to be able to do that. So the project is located at 1301 10th Street in Lake Park, and the project consists of 3 individual entities with about 26,000 square feet facility. It's a coffee grinding store that's facility that's called Ocean of Coffee. Flow to canning, which will provide vendors access to machinery for canning their products, and Kiss Kitchen, which will consist of 14 to 16 spaces for vendors to prepare and sell their goods. And so that's something that's going to be open to a lot of the small businesses who needs that commercial kitchen. The project cost is about $11 million, and the county reallocated Section 108 loan program of about $200,000 and $182,000 for the canning, and almost close to $1 million for the commercial kitchen, because we want to make sure that for the small mom and pop folks who wants to be able to sell their goods, and there's a kitchen for them to be able to go. Gramercy Park Neighborhood Center, yes.
I'd love to be able to follow your presentation.
I'm going to provide that to you, so I'm going to
Okay.
email it to you. So my staff, she's like looking at me, so we're going to provide that to you. So we'll email it to you, and what we'll also do is, if for the residents who are listening, who are here, we can put it on our website, and so in that way you can get an update from District 7. So we'll do that.
Okay.
Commissioner, I'm sorry. Just,
Website would be what?
I'm gonna email it to you.
Yes, I mean, so the
So
residents
it's going to
know
be
what
at
website to look for.
pbcgov.org.
bbcgov.org?
Yes.
just before you continue, let the record reflect that Councilwoman Webb is on the dais. Okay?
Yes, and so Gramercy Park, as you know, we're very close to Gramercy Park, and if you leave 45th Street and you go out to Haverhill, and so we've been working with county staff, the community, to create a neighborhood community center at Gramercy Park, and so the Gramercy Park Neighborhood Center project, which will include the construction of 11,000 square feet of a neighborhood center right on Park Avenue and 45th Street. The center includes a large multi-purpose room, classroom, kitchen, offices, and building support spaces. The site amenities include a parking lot, landscape, a mulch surface walking trail, and associated site infrastructure work. Face Place, a nonprofit organization that many of you have worked with by Ms. Nobles, that provides a variety of educational services to the greater West Palm Beach community, has agreed in concept to operate the expanded 11,000 square foot neighborhood center. And so we believe that having Face Place as a partner with us, where so many of our kids, young kids who are in arts and dance, can go to this community center. So working with the Gramercy Park Neighborhood Center and some of the northern areas in West Palm Beach, what we're hoping is that this is a community center that will be for our kids. And also the planned services will include a VPK program, homework assistant, FCAT tutorials, STEM lessons, and after-school arts enrichment programs. So those are some of the things that are going to be right there at the Gramercy Park Neighborhood Center. I think we're going to do the groundbreaking ceremony. I'm not sure. Is it scheduled March 14th? So that's going to be the groundbreaking. So which means that it's going to be completed, and I'm going to be out of the county commission. So, but I'm going to be looking forward to watching this neighborhood community center be built right here in West Palm Beach. So it is really an opportunity for our kids. And also we're looking at our procurement ordinance to see, because what we wanted to do was, we passed the small business program, and now we're going to go into the phase of how do we continue to provide our smaller businesses opportunities to procure with Palm Beach County. So that's what we're going to look at. And so those are some of the good things that we're looking at in Palm Beach County, and would love to take any questions. If there are anything that you don't like with my presentation, please blame it on Wilnita. Anything that you like, you could she'll take the credit too. So, but I'm really happy to be here.
Oh, thanks so much. What we're going to do first, we're going to see if there's any questions from the dais, and then we'll open up for a couple of questions on the floor. So if there's any questions or comments from the dais, we'll take those now.
I would be interested to know more about, you were saying the affordable housing project was one of the 3 components of economic development, is it?
So, when the voters passed the housing bond, we wanted to make sure that we're addressing 3 different types of housing. We want to address workforce housing, and workforce means that you make more than 60% of the area median income. So that's going to be some of your teachers, firefighters, police officers, people that work in government, that you make a little bit above that 60% of the area median income. And then that's going to be multifamily, so that would be apartments. And then also we want to do the affordable parts of that, which is going to be 60% or below of the area median income. And I can tell you that some of our teachers who work in Palm Beach County also would fit in that same category. And then so that's rentals for both workforce and affordable housing. And also the last piece, which is going to be single family homes that people can buy. And so that's the other component. So we have 3 different RFPs that will address the 3 different buckets that we're trying to micro target.
All right, and I'm eager to read more about that on the website.
Yes,
is that right?
yes. And so we can, and also what we can also do is, I'd love for us to bring Jonathan Brown from Housing and Economic Sustainability Department to even provide you more information on that, because I'm sure as the town is growing, developers want to build workforce and affordable or single family homes. And so we want the community to know about it, so in that way we can make sure that the dollars are allocated throughout the county.
This is all good. I'm just concerned about those that are even below, that would be in need of affordable housing, because as you're describing, I'm seeing that there are people who are, I'd say, at the very low level of the
Mhm.
medium,
Yes.
that
And
would really struggle to try to purchase or even renting some of these.
And so
Facil-
what we've done regarding that is, we know that a lot of our housing authorities are the ones who are most of the time working on the extremely low income, and that's where you're talking about 28% or 30 to 28% below the area median income. So we've been working with the different housing authorities to allocate dollars that are specific to the housing authorities, so that way they can micro-target these other people who actually are below that. And also what we've done is, even in the RFPs, what we've also done is we're going to incentivize the developers to also include more the affordable, but also to provide dollars for the below income, so in that way they can include it in those developments. One project that we've funded, I think we have I think we're having the groundbreaking ceremony or the groundbreaking ceremony soon. The Palm Beach County Housing Authority, their main office that they moved from right on 45th Street, they're actually going to be, it's going to be, what type of housing is it again? Uh, it's, wow, it's, I'm trying to make sure. They're doing something new in Palm Beach County, and we as a county provided the funding for the project that's being built there, and it's going to be targeted with the 25 to 30% of the area median income. And also, we've done projects with the city of West Palm Beach, and then we're always addressing housing. And also in the county, what we did was last month we did the groundbreaking, the ribbon cutting of the Housing Resource Center that's in Lake Worth. So those are the things that we're doing to address housing in Palm Beach County.
Thank you. I look forward to
We'll
reading
do
more
that.
of that.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Any other questions from the dais?
I do. Akwaba, it means welcome in African. So while we're still in African history, I'm practicing the little that I've learned. I wanted to ask you, how are applicants selected for the housing program? Especially when they have like openings that has like 50 or 100 applications, and it opens at midnight, and then by 12:30 it's filled.
That's a struggle that we're working on. Sometimes, we have limited dollars, and when we say it's going to open at 12, by the time that it opens within 5 to 7 minutes, all of those dollars are allocated. So we've had conversations with Mr. Brown's office to see what are the different ways that we can fix it, so in that way, people will get the chance to be able to apply for some of these housing programs. And what I'll do is make sure that he comes here, and if there are any concerns, we can express it to him, and I'll be there. I'll be here also, so in that way we can see how we can improve the way that some of these applications are let out.
Okay.
But we don't have enough dollars for, if we're saying that we're going to have first-time home buyers assistance and we're going to allocate $10 million within 5 to 7 minutes, all the spots are filled.
I asked a question because sometimes you have single mothers that are working so hard towards that purchase, and they're doing everything that's required. And then, say for example, myself that haven't even done a course, I wanted to see if there are requirements or stipulations as to who get accepted, or it's just a first come, first serve. Because I was helping a few individuals, and it was like the same thing. Oh, how do they get picked if it's just 100? And it wouldn't be fair for the single mother that is out there working so hard, doing all these courses, saving the money, doing the sessions, showing up here and showing up there, and they don't get that opportunity after putting in all that work, and the person that does not do anything but sit there and wait for the portal to be open, get to benefit from it.
So what I will do is I'll have a conversation with Mr. Brown, and I'll follow back up with you to see how do they set it up. But I agree with you that, you know, it should be, you know, that when the portal is open, it should be folks who have done all the courses, who've been in line waiting, so in that way they get that opportunity. And so I'll try to figure out what their how they're setting it up, and see if there are ways that we can improve it to make sure that the folks who've been in line waiting, that are prepared, that they get that opportunity.
Thank you for answering that question. My next question is small business.
Mhm.
What are some of the opportunities? I hear you said there are opportunities that's coming.
Mhm.
I remember about a year or 2 years ago, there was like this really big opportunity for a lot of small businesses. The offices were full, there was a line, you had to make appointments. But, you know, you'll call and try to figure out, what do I need to do to get this, this, and this, and now it's like you're going around in circles, or they're switching you to different departments. So say, for example, I have a small business, and I try to, you know, get a lot of opportunities, but when you call to see what they are, they switch you all over the place. Or if you hear of something that comes up and you want more information, you're still not getting the resources or the information that's needed.
Well, council member, to the residents who are listening and who are here, what we want from the county's perspective is for businesses to be certified with the county, or it could be with the city of West Palm Beach, with the school district, or with the Solid Waste Authority. And so now the certification process, sometimes it could be burdensome, but our office is always here. If anyone's got any issues with going through our small business office to get certification, please call our office and we will walk through with you, and you can come to our office and we'll help you with Miss Tanya Davis Johnson. They will help you to get certified, and that's what we promise that we will do for you to get certified. Now, there are different opportunities with the city of West Palm Beach, the school district, the county, and Solid Waste Authority. And so that's the reason why we're making changes to improve our procurement opportunities for our small businesses. But, you know, like right now, our small business Office of Equal Business Opportunity, because we have our MBE program and our WB program, which are providing opportunities for minority-owned businesses, women-owned businesses, and it was going to sunset as of December 31st of 2023. The board unanimously approved an extension of 2 years, so now where we can do a disparity study, so now where we can continue to provide business opportunities for our small businesses, and specifically our women-owned businesses, our black-owned businesses. I have 3 girls, so I have to say, you know, black female-owned businesses and Hispanic-owned businesses in Palm Beach County. And also, we have our Solid Waste Authority, which also we're doing right now we have the disparity study that's going to be out. And, you know, we're going to eventually adopt the program with the Solid Waste Authority also. So that's going to sunset soon. So eventually, I believe by next year, we'll vote on the disparity study. So now we can continue to provide opportunities for our small businesses.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm sure there may be other questions, but in the interest of time, what I'd like to do is go to the floor, and we'll take maybe 2 questions from the floor. If there's any questions or comments from the floor. Okay.
So, my name is George Ferguson, I'm the senior pastor of Power Prayer Ministry. Mark, thank you for being here. Mark Bernard, Johnson, Commissioner. You said that y'all was working with a microcredit to help the ones that below 30% or 28%. Can you give me a little more detail of what is your, what it entails to help those that below the mid-range?
So there are 2 things that we've done. First of all, you know, during COVID, we receive close to over $100 million in emergency rental assistance that we've basically provided help to thousands of households in the county in terms of providing rental assistance for the residents. In regards to residents who are below that 30%, the way that when you're doing affordable housing, typically you're looking at 60% below the area median income. And so, so what you have to do is you have to incentivize, which means that you're putting more dollars to create those units. So in that way, you know, so whoever's going to develop it will be able to develop that property and want to build that. And so what we've done is, first of all, when the residents passed the infrastructure sales tax, the residents voted to keep $25 million for us to address below almost more homeless housing, but below that 30%. And so those dollars, we've been working with the housing authorities because they are the best partners to address the below of that 30% of the area median income. So it's what we've done is provide funding to these housing authorities, the West Palm Beach Housing Authority, and also the Delray Beach Housing Authority, whichever housing authority that we've been partnering with to provide those units. But it's more working with them, providing the funds, so in that way they can build the units that are needed.
Okay. All righty, we'll see if there's anyone else. One more from the floor. We'll take a quick one we'll take a quick one, and then we'll see if there's someone else as well.
You said you were doing a groundbreaking, of this community building.
Yeah.
And where you said it was located, and it's March the 14th, correct?
Yeah, so it's March 14th at 11 a.m. So it's Gramercy Park Neighborhood Center. I believe it's basically 45th Street, so it's west of Haverhill, so right where you have the center right there. So we've been working for the past 7 years of labor to push the board and county staff to build this community center. And this community center was a product that former Commissioner Addie Green started. Former Commissioner Priscilla Taylor worked on it. And so for the past 7 years, we've been working with staff to eventually get to the point where we have the developer who is building it. I believe we selected Hatcher Construction out of Delray Beach, a small minority contracting company. They're the ones who are going to be the contractor. And we're looking forward to providing Face Place. If you've worked with them, you've seen them in the neighborhood. They have after-school program for a lot of our young kids. And so what we're hoping is that they're going to be the operator who would operate that building, 11,000 square footage. Imagine our young kids will get that opportunity to be able to have a place for arts, dance, vocal, musical. And so I'm really excited about it. So I think that, you know, seeing this come to fruition is something that I'm excited about. I'm not happy that it won't be built while I'm on the board, but I'm hoping that whoever replaced me will continue to make sure that that's a priority for this area.
Okay. All righty. If there's one more person from the floor, then we're going to move on in our agenda. If not, okay, thank you so much. A 30-second comment here. 7 years, we could have done it here in Magonia Park in like a year and a half. Right, and considering it in terms of just the corridor itself, we're much busier here in Magonia Park, right? Tri-Rail and all, so we'd be excited if we can get one here, but I'll talk to you offline. Okay. That wasn't the
No.
award on the parade, so. Okay.
Mayor, I just want to thank you for, you know, the work that you do, your town manager and the entire board. And it's always great to see the residents that are here in person, and also the ones who are listening. The work is not easy, but, you know, having gone through COVID and now trying to make sure that we're addressing the crisis that we're facing in the county. And I can tell you the top two are housing and then dealing with mental health. And that's something that we're working with the healthcare district for us to really try to micro-target, and how do we provide mental health services for our residents in the county.
That's critical. Okay. Well, we certainly thank you so much and your assistant for coming out and presenting to us. We really do. And so if there's any other questions, I'm sure there would just be a volume of questions to be asked. We did show that number, and that's 561.
355-2207.
Okay. Certainly, they can reach out if they have any additional questions or comments. Okay.
Please do.
Well, certainly. And thanks so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mayor. I do have to leave because I have to do homework with my
Oh,
daughter.
certainly.
So.
And thanks so much for carving out some
Thank you
time.
for
We
coming.
appreciate it. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Our next item is item 7B, and this is consideration, my apologies, let me go back. Our next item is item 4. This is a presentation by South Florida Regional Transit Authority relative to the Northern Layover Light Maintenance Facility in Mangonia Park. Is that Royal Palm Beach?
I'm sorry?
I'm just,
Oh. Got me early.
okay.
Well, good evening.
Good evening.
Mayor Albury, Vice Mayor Johnson, and council members. My name is David Deck. We met some little while ago. It's a pleasure to be here, and I appreciate the invitation to come up and have the opportunity to talk a little bit about SFRTA and a little bit about our Northern Layover Facility. I have brought some members of my team here with me who can answer, you know, more technical questions probably than I can. But just want to take a moment, first introduce myself. This is my first time coming up and meeting this council. So my name again is David Deck. I am the executive director for the South Florida Regional Transportation Authority, and we operate Tri-Rail on behalf of the state of Florida. I joined SFRTA about a year and a half ago. Came here from Austin, Texas, where I was the vice president of rail for Capital Metro in Austin, and the previous 23 years I was with CSX Transportation. So I was speaking with the vice mayor, and the only thing I know is railroad. I'm trying to branch out a little bit, but it's been a time. But I started years ago as a brakeman and a conductor and locomotive engineer, and ultimately as a vice president of CSX, and then moved on to different things. So I'm really pleased, I think, with some of the things that we're accomplishing here in South Florida. We're turning a page, I think, at Tri-Rail. We have some really good news stories to tell, and we want to really begin to tell more. We are very proud that we recently opened our newest station, and that's a connection into downtown Miami at the Miami Central Station that we'd share with Brightline. So now we have 2 stations in the heart of Miami. And so we delivered that project. We're also, I don't know if anybody's noticed, the trains are starting to look a little bit different in a couple different ways. Now they're a little cleaner. They're not a lot cleaner, they're a little cleaner. We're working on it. We got new windows. We put like 800 new windows in the trains, but we're also changing out the wrap and the livery on the trains. So the blue and the palm trees are going away, and you'll see on the front of your presentation, that's actually was the first one that was wrapped with the new livery, and there's some treatments on there that we've done to make sure that we can keep the trains a little cleaner, easier to wash. We can use a much more environmentally friendly soap on the trains, so that's little things that we're trying to think of to be a better neighbor. But a little bit about South Florida SFRTA. We've been in operation since 1989. We're now grown the corridor, so it's about 81 miles with our, like I've mentioned, our 19th station. We run 50 weekday trains, and we run 30 trains on the weekends. This number, the 14,800 average weekday ridership, we are very, very proud. So a year and a half ago, that number was 11,000. We are among the leaders in the country in ridership recovery. We are running right now at about 90, probably 95% of our pre-COVID numbers. So unlike some of our peers, we are really making a strong comeback, and we attribute a lot of that to our connections with the airports. People want to travel, and we have connections into all 3 airports. So we we take, we'll take a train right into Miami International Airport, where you'll go down, we have a platform, you go up the escalator, and you're in a rental car center and walk right over to the airport. At Fort Lauderdale Airport, we operate a shuttle that runs every 15 to 20 minutes. I am biased, but I think it's one of the best looking buses I've ever seen. But it's, so it runs in circles to take you right into the terminal. And then here at Palm Beach International Airport, we work with our rideshare partners in the taxis and Ubers, where we will subsidize up to $15 for an Uber ride if you want to come into Palm Beach and utilize, take the train to Palm Beach Station, and we'll help you get an Uber over there to the airport. So we really are working hard to make sure that we can accommodate people going to all 3 airports. We're also working on our first mile, last mile connections. So we've got the partners. We have a smaller subsidy at our other stations to try to help get people to and from work. So it's up to $5 for an Uber, taxi, or Lyft. Not Lyft, Uber or Uber or taxi. And we have the freebies in some of them, but try to get people here, make it a little easier to get to and from the train. I mentioned that we connected all airports, and I would be remiss. I'm like a broken record everywhere I go, but we are $5 all day on the weekend. So if you want to ride the train on Saturday or Sunday, it's $5 all day. You can ride as many times as you want. But that brings me to, I think, what we want to talk about here is the Northern Layover Facility, and I know that this project has been in the works for over a decade. And it's, when you look at the way our capacity has been, it's probably, the sooner the better for us. We have a yard I say we, the state of Florida has a yard in Hialeah that we utilize, that we share with CSX. So CSX has a freight yard on the same property, and we also share with Amtrak. So there's 3 railroads right now sharing that property, and soon to be a possible 4th. So there's talk about expanding commuter rail on the other line, the same line as Brightline has, and the heavy shop would be in the Hialeah yard. So that'd be 4 railroads sharing that same yard. We have the small layover facility in West Palm Beach. It's really right downtown. I've probably driven by it, seen it. It's easy to miss because it's pretty small. But that is also, it's constrained. We can't put the longer trains in, and it's just outlived its usefulness. So we, through the studies and through the years, look for a place that we can put another light maintenance facility. This is at the very north end of our railroad, so logistically and practically it makes sense. So you're not running empty trains. You're not running non-revenue trains back and forth, to get in a position. This is located right up here, up the just north of the Mangonia Park Station. So you come right out of there with a fresh train set and you're ready to go. And a layover facility is exactly that. So this isn't, there's a heavy repair facility, which we would keep in Hialeah. And this is, light maintenance, the cleaning of the trains, washing of the trains. This plan, they could talk to about it a little bit later, has a fully automated train wash built into it. We do inspections. So there's a mandated series of inspections that have to be done according to the FRA. So you're going to do your brake inspections. You're going to do, this facility will have a full-length pit underneath, so you can look underneath the trains and make sure everything's good there. That would be all indoors, and then you'd be able to fuel trains at this facility as well. And I mentioned, did I hear, was there a question? Oh, okay. So I mentioned the West Palm Beach layover facility, and we listed just some I guess, a number of reasons why it's just not working for us anymore. It's 4 miles from the end of the line, so you're making a deadhead move every time you go to and from. It is very small. It's less than an acre, and really the longest train set you could possibly fit in there is 4 train sets. And it's really, you can't wash trains in it. You can wipe windows and things like that down, but it's so constrained. It's just not set up properly for what we need to do to grow. Because one of the things we also want to do is grow. So we have been very fortunate recently over the last year and a half. We banged on every door in Washington. We banged on every door in South Florida, and through some grants and some local funding and some local partnerships, we're going to make an investment of almost $200 million in new rolling stock. We need places to have that service and store it and everything else. So And that way, because we want to provide more service, we want to put more trains out there, we want to recognize that there are some windows in our service that just aren't suitable for everybody that wants to get back and forth to work. You know, there's difficulties with our service if you work second or third shift. I worked second or third shift most of my life, so I recognize that, you know, that's a problem. We need to do that. One of the things we need to do that is be able to expand our capacity. So, the new labor facility, like I said, it's very efficient. It is on the state-owned right-of-way of the South Florida Rail Corridor. Right now, we've got it designed a little bigger than, you know, we only have so much money. So we've designed it for a little bigger than it's probably gonna end up being. We'll have to value engineer some of that, but it's really, we're designing it to 10 train sets, 8 train sets. Really minimizes those non-revenue moves. We've also added, you know, wayside power capabilities to the yard. So, you know, in a traditional like freight rail yard where I came from, if we needed to have air on the cars or electric on the cars or anything like, we just kept the engine running. Right, so that's not optimal if you're in a community, you want to be a good neighbor. So we've added wayside power to these, so we'll have the ability to shut those locomotives down most of the time. They'll be on sometimes, but most of the time, so that we can have all those electrical power and air power and do the work that we need on these trains without always having idling locomotives. I think the next page, I'm on page 6 of the presentation. You can see kind of an overview of the proposed rail yard, the crew building. I know there's what's the road that's Dexter Way. There's going to be improvements to Dexter Way, and there's an office building and facility there. I've got Kevin here with me that can answer some of the specifics about the design if anybody has it. But you can see there we've tried to shrink the footprint as much as we can and still be effective. You know, no big balloon tracks or anything like that. So it's really an elongated facility. And we really, you know, we're building in, there's a sound wall that's going in partially on part of it. And we do, you know, we're open to suggestions or requests. You know, we don't have so much money, but we also really strive to be a good neighbor. You know, I recognize that not everybody wants a rail yard. But we want to build one, and we want to be a good neighbor and a good partner. So we are, you know, within reason, we are open to suggestions or requests, and we can accommodate as much as we can. The page 7, I guess you can see that the town of Mangonia Park. Here it's really the office building. If you look at the right of the page, the office building is that green building. And then the red building is like the overhead where the trains will be inside and being worked on. You see the majority of the track, any of the storage track there is going to be north of Mangonia Park, in most of it in the city of Riviera Beach. And then on pages, the next couple pages, 8 and 9, we wanted to give kind of some renderings. Again, these are not finalized, but you know, when I think of a rail yard or a rail repair facility or something, in my head I conjure an image. It's not always like flattering, you know. So we wanted to give kind of an idea of what we're looking at here. It's really, I think, a pretty nice facility. You can see the office building there with the parking around, and then the kind of an overhead. It's like a big overhead shed where most of the work will be done. But a really nice crew building where we'll have crews that go on and off duty up here, office spaces, conference rooms, training center, and then of course the repair facilities. The inspection facility is a little over 22,000 square feet. Again, it's going to have the train wash. It will have a full inspection pit underneath so that we can walk underneath the trains to see what's going on there, as well as the fueling station. And this represents, this yard, the whole facility represents a little bit over a $50 million investment. So it is a substantial investment in the community. It's going to bring, you know, a lot of the facilities that we would normally have and the jobs and the things that we have in West Palm and some of the ones out of Hialeah will come up here. So we think that's a good thing as well. So this is, we do have some interlocal agreements that we've done between SFRTA, the city of West Palm Beach, and the town of Mangonia Park. We are still working on some of the design. We are working with some of the utility companies because there are some utilities that need to be moved. We will go through life safety reviews. We'll work with all the local fire departments and emergency personnel to make sure that when we're designing this, you can get a fire truck in. You can get emergency personnel in. You know where these things are. So all those things will be upcoming. And then, of course, we'll be working through with the utility companies and everything to make sure, we relocate things the way that they need to be. And these agreements were executed in June of 2020. Additional benefits, we've, obviously, if we have the yard right here, this Mangonia Park Station is gonna be a pretty big, busy station. We're making aesthetic improvements to the station. I think if you go out there now, you'll see where, we've got, the overhead bridge encased. We're working on the overhead bridge. We're gonna be working on the steps. We have an assessment that we just completed. We're going through the results of that now, where we go through and we're gonna make an investment on making sure we bring that station up to what we believe are minimum acceptable standards. That's, get rid of the rusty stanchions, make sure the stairs are, don't creak when you walk, and we recognize there's work that has to be done. We have that under construction. We have the money to do it, and we've already started that process with that overhead ramp. We do have the sound barrier wall going on, the Dexter Way improvements, and then there will be, for the city, it'll be a pretty big place, so there'll be some utility revenue, I think, come your way. So we do have the homes at the Enclave at Mangonia Park. So we have 600 feet north is the Enclave, and we have the sound barrier there, the sound wall that'll go up there. So that'll help reduce the noise from not only these trains but the passing trains that you have already. So that should help the residents there. We'll be making improvements to the Dexter Way. With drainage, I understand if there's a good rain, there's some issues at Dexter Way, so we're gonna come in as part of this project and improve the drainage there and help reconstruct the road. And then there's a map there that I don't even begin to understand, but it is where all the utilities are gonna end up. So it's I could fake my way through it, but I think you'd see through it in about 10 seconds. But we are working with FPL and all the other utilities to make sure that if we need to move something, it's done to the best of standards, and that it's done in the right place, in the right way, and done all through the right permitting processes. And that brings me to kind of where we are in the project. We're at right about 90% design, coming up on it a little bit, so we're getting there. We expect 100% design to be done this summer. Utility relocation will be summer through fall this year. We will then go out and advertise for a contractor. And we expect construction to be about a 24-month period from when we give notice to proceed. So, we're looking probably, the yard, our goal would be to have the yard to complete somewhere in early 2027. And I can deflect any questions that you might have to people who know more than I do.
Like a good neighbor.
Certainly, I'm sure there'll be quite a few. But we'll start here on the desk. We'll see if there's any questions or comments from council.
Yes. Like a good neighbor, Tri-Rail is here. Thank you for coming out. Great presentation. You answered two of the questions I was about to ask. The 24 months, a beginning start date for 2027. I wanted to ask about the sound barriers. What kind of barriers it was going to be and how tall is it going to be?
Yeah, I can answer that.
Okay.
Thanks for that question. My name is Kevin LaGreca, and I'm responsible for the final design of the project. So thanks. I'm happy to be here. So we expect those walls to be about 20 feet in height and be standard FDOT sound barriers with some patterns or something like that on there too to make it look appealing.
Okay. So, would there be any improvements to our station that we have now, or it's just going to extend, go up, and whatever improvements are going to be taking place is just to the new, if and when
we're gonna make improvements to the station condition the way it is.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I don't, we're not gonna extend the station or anything like, but so the station platforms will be in the same place. We're coming in and we're doing the work on the overhead walkway right now. Here probably in the next 12 to 16 months, we'll be modernizing both of the elevators to eliminate some of the issues that we have there. We're coming through and looking at the roofing, the gutters, the panels, like everything to make sure that as we're identifying anywhere that needs to be repaired, so that we can bring that station up to that standard. Then the yard improvements will be north of the station, but both are gonna be done.
Okay, thank you. I see the improvements that are happening and a lot of changes and things that needed to be addressed is already fixed. So
I took notes when we met last time.
Yeah, a lot has changed, believe me. It's a great improvement. I love the design, the cleaner on there.
We also, from one of your suggestions here, but it took me a little longer than I anticipated, but we put some full-time cleaners on up at this northern end as well. So now we have people cleaning midday at the southern end.
I know
And
it's
we
right.
have people in the midday on the northern end as well.
I did notice that, and I went on the train 2 times after that, and I was pretty impressed of how clean the bathrooms
We're
were.
working on it. We're working
And I
on it.
see the guys going in and out. But I wanted to ask one thing. So because of the many homeless individuals that they have that are on the steps, I don't know if you've been there, it's been clean now, but like putting gates, is there any way you could suggest for like a closure? So depending on what time if you're catching that 4 o'clock in the morning train, they're literally on the steps, and sometimes it gets really scary.
I can look at this station in particular. I can say, like, if I've had this question quite a bit, and like closing in the stations for us really gets to almost cost prohibitive. It's, the stations are big, they're open, they were designed that way, so it's almost going exactly against what they were designed for. But I can certainly look to bring at the short term probably some additional security up here if that would be useful. And then look at ways to kind of harden the infrastructure around.
Okay.
Because when I go someplace else, they'll go, we need to open that gate on the other side so we can get through. And we're like, no, we need to funnel this traffic in here. I will take that back with me and make sure that, especially like the early morning hours, I understand what you're saying, and see what we can do. It might be tough to gate it in, but I'm sure we could do something with our security.
Security is a great suggestion. Thank you.
Other council comments or questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm glad to hear there is progress. I kept wondering, when are we gonna get an update? When are we gonna get an update?
I kept asking the same thing. They're like, it really is. And now, once we opened that, we were so focused as a entity on that Miami Central Station. I mean, that has been, a giant project, a $70 million project, and I heard about it when I still worked at CSX. So when I got here, we really wanted to make sure, let's get this done. And then I can assure you, this one is right behind. So we're done. Now this is our focus. And so we're going to keep pushing this forward. You'll see a lot more pressure to keep this moving.
Okay. I'm concerned about, in the 24-month process, what kind of construction noises are the residents gonna have to deal with?
It would be disingenuous of me to say there's not gonna be construction noise. We're gonna be building a railroad. So there's machinery, and it's almost, the bigger the machinery we're able to bring in, the more we can compress the construction time. And you can bring in smaller machinery, and that'll make it last longer. So we can look at that, and we can look at the pricing and all these other things. I've been on a lot of construction sites, and it's there's going to be, there's spikes are going to be driven, ties are going to be put down. We can make sure that we limit that to daylight hours. But there, it's going to be a construction site. I don't want to, I don't want to come up here and give you an expectation that I can't fulfill. But it's going to be a construction site. We will do, again, I have no more bigger interest than to be a good neighbor.
Dave, I want to just add something to that. One of our goals in the construction sequencing of this project is to build the noise walls first. So that should help block some of the construction noise.
Okay. I'm just, we've got all these new neighbors right there in the enclave, and also those that are in the Bryn Mawr area that will be affected by the sounds that come from construction as well as operations of this additional facility. And I'm just want to see what precautions are being considered to ease the distress of our residents.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Any other questions or comments from Councilman McConnell?
I'm more into the maintenance. I lived by that train since 1956, that railroad. And I noticed here lately a lot of square wheels on not Amtrak, but Tri-Rail.
A few flat spots,
You
huh?
know,
Yeah.
a lot of bang, 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 bang. And I was just wondering, how, I know you said you can walk under the train, so, I mean, is there a maintenance schedule?
Oh,
Do you
absolutely.
change them axles?
Well, so the standard, the FRA standard, if you have a flat spot, is up to 1 inch. So, you're not going to replace it unless you have to. There's nothing like less than 1 inch. It's a noise, but it's not dangerous or anything like that. But we have actually just completed a bunch of work on our wheel truing machine. So as we're bringing these through, we can hone those wheels out and take some of those flat spots out. You're seeing a few more of those, if you can indulge me. Over the last several years, every railroad in the country had to install positive train control. Positive train control is a system that keeps trains from running into each other, keeps them going by overspeed, keeps them getting into work zones, and it's really it ruined I used to have a really simple business. Like, it was just really simple. Now we run a network. And everything, all the computers on the trains have to talk to the computer at the signal and all these other things. And the reason I bring this up is because if one of those is out of sync, the train stops. And that's where you get that braking, and that's what causes that flat spot. So we're seeing them more because we're braking more. We're trying to make sure we work all those bugs out. But again, when they get inspected daily. If they're more than 1 inch, they're condemnable. They come out of service. Anything less than an inch, we might wait a little bit before we true the wheel.
I mean, as far
I hear them too.
as I'm concerned, that, like I said, I've lived there since 1956. And there's been several little accidents, but nothing, no derailments or anything like that.
No, listen, we pride ourselves on operating safely. Our biggest issue and what we work with the communities and everybody else is road crossing safety. People, respecting the train, the gates, so that we don't have incidents at the stations. I get far more damage from hitting cars at road crossings that have gone around gates than we get from anything else.
So, you said you worked for CSX?
Yes, sir.
So they have the same standard for I know their freight trains are worse.
Well, they had the flat spot is yes, that's exactly the same standard they have on freight. And they have the same same growing pains with their positive train control that we do. So you'll see some of those flat spots there as well.
So that type of work won't be done here.
We can wheel true. I think because wheel truing is really a minor kind of repair. I don't think we've designed a wheel true machine into this one because we have one in Hialeah. But down the road, if we wanted to invest in a second wheel truing machine, something like that could be done up here. It's really kind of quiet, and you have to jack the engine up, and I don't think we have any cranes going into this yet.
No, this is just a light maintenance facility.
Because I know I see, flat cars loaded with the wheels and the axles.
Yeah.
Go by at times.
Railroads
there'll
go
be
through a lot of wheels. Yeah.
Several flat cars loaded with wheels, and I'm thinking to myself, How come that thing go bang, bang, bang when it comes by here with all the new wheels?
Railroads go through a lot of wheels. We're looking at things other than flat spots. You look at that flange wears very quickly, so you're watching for a low flange or sharp flange or any of those things. The ones you see on the flatbeds are usually freight car wheels. Ours would come with the big traction motors, but yeah, railroads go through a lot of wheels, and we continue to try to revise our processes because we don't like spending money on wheels if we don't have to. And so we keep working at that. But we went through this year and we reprofiled the entire top of the profile, the entire alignment. So 80 miles, both tracks, everything else. We brought a rail grinder in here. We got the CSX wheel profile, the Amtrak wheel profile, our wheel profile, and did every square inch of this alignment to try to smooth out the top of the rail so we can get the best ride, and then we can start working on the other things.
So evidently Amtrak does a better job, because that thing just, when it comes through, it just goes whoosh. You don't hear anything.
They're going so fast you don't even hear it.
You don't hear anything. I guess it just skips over the bumps.
Ready? Anything else?
That's all.
Okay. Just a couple of quick questions. And just total transparency, as you stated, this has been going on a couple of decades, and I've sort of been going around the meetings a couple of decades ago as well. And actually went down the RTA, I just used abbreviation and sort of spoke on your behalf. With the King, of course, with the King company, to make sure that we kept the station here. Right, so we've been very friendly, and we understand the benefit of it. And trying to understand the benefit of a maintenance facility, however, was a little different. And so we're at this point now, and what we're trying to do is just trying to make sure that all things have been considered. There were some questions that was asked way back then, but I'll just probably resurrect a few, and maybe there's a couple of new ones. So just a couple of quick questions. Now, as it relates to, because we know that you stated that there's be the cleaning and the maintenance and such. Now, normally, of course, with cleaning, there's water and cleaning solution, right? At car washes, they have water reclamation process, by which they take the old water, and so you understand that whole process. Is that going to happen here, or what happens to the water as it rolls off the trains that clean
So
the trains?
we're doing a design build kind of on the train wash, but yes, one of the parts of that train wash will be reclaiming the water. That's even in our facility that we use now in Hialeah, we're always watching to see how we can improve that process, because water's money for us. So we want to make sure we recapture and do everything. We just switched train wash solutions to a very environmentally friendly train wash solution. So we limit those issues as well. So we are constantly watching to try to revise those processes. And we, again, I've said it. I say it every time. I don't know what went on in the past, but I can tell you, we are 100% interested in being a good neighbor. We've removed 800 tons of debris from the 80 miles of this railroad. Trash and garbage and just everywhere. Because, someday, somebody might want to put a development or something around that station, right? They're not going to do that if my station looks horrible, if my layover facility is horrible, and my trains are horrible. So there's an economic interest for all of us, for us to be a good neighbor.
Absolutely, and of course, that's our vantage point in terms of just the visioning that we have done and continue to do in the future. In terms of what we'd like to see happen, of course, this abuts a new development. Now, one of the things, of course, is that, and we addressed it some years ago with the idling. When those trains are idled, they're vibrating, right? And so a person's close to it all night long. And so we sort of addressed that, and so it was resolved to a certain point. But now that there'll be additional trains where they're coming now to be serviced, I would imagine they're going to have to idle for a minute.
There's going to be some,
Right.
yes.
Are there, now you made mention of the sound wall, but now are there like the sound spikes that are going to be incorporated in the wall or separately or anything else to try and divert the vibration and the sound?
In the sound wall?
If it's going to be a combination of spikes in the wall or separately done?
No, it was just going to be like a standard Florida Department of Transportation sound wall.
Okay, now, and that stops the vibration, and I'm going to defer to the experts, you're the experts. That stops the vibration from sort of going, I guess, horizontally. Right. But at the same time, the ground is still shaking when they're idled. So it's going to cause a vibration on the other side of the wall where residents are.
I don't think we're necessarily gonna be idling near the wall.
Yeah, so if
Yeah.
you look at the map,
Yes.
yeah, the area in which the trains are gonna be serviced are further away from the residential neighborhood. The sound wall that's going up is where the trains are gonna be passing by, where they currently passing by, both Amtrak and CSX. But now the SFRTA trains will go up there. So there will be some idling inside the S&I facility, service and inspection facility, when they're performing work and they're really cleaning the trains and so on. But it's on a track slab, so it's not your typical cross ties with rail on ballast stone. It's going to be on a track slab that can help with the vibration. When you go into the yard, it's going to be ballasted track, but the trains aren't going to be idled out there because they're going to be connected to what they call the wayside power, and that's where they plug in the trains. They can shut the trains down, similar to cars in northern climates, where you don't want the car to freeze, but you don't want to leave it on overnight, and you have to plug. So in the yard is going to be the regular standard ballasted track with the stone, but not idling. Inside the service and inspection building, yes, there'll be some idling, but it's going to be on a concrete slab, and that will help with the vibration.
And it's also in our
And
interest to have them idling as little as possible.
Absolutely, right.
Because
And
that
we have-
burns fuel.
Yes, and I can understand the design, but then there's always the thing that happened outside of the design, that being perhaps a train coming in saying, I know I'm not supposed to be here right now, but there's nowhere else to go, I need to park it, and so they're not at the station. That may happen from time to time, right? And so if that were to happen, or better yet, the question would be, what provisions are in place to ensure that that doesn't happen?
We're trying to design this large enough so that we don't have that issue. So, if I was designing this to just slightly larger than what we have in West Palm, that might be an issue. Like I run a total of 10 train sets a day.
Understand.
So we're designing this to hold 8. Most of ours are still gonna be down in Hialeah, so we're not emptying out Hialeah. This is for the light running repair, the stuff that's being done overnight. It is not designed to be an overflow yard or a switch yard. Freight trains aren't going in there. It's, now there's a customer up north there, freight trains are gonna service, but that's a whole separate, that's a whole separate item. And, I think it's important to remember as well, not remember, because I didn't, so with this, we're rebuilding right now our Brookville fleet, which are our prime locomotives. We're in the process of rebuilding every one of those. So, these are newly rebuilt locomotives, plus the new locomotives that we're gonna be building. So they're a little bit different than what we conjure in our head of the old rumbling, diesel locomotive. The newer ones are not that way.
Okay, great. Vibration will travel, if you had let's just say that we were at the site now, and there was a train that was just sitting idle, how far would that vibration travel? Approximately.
So I've worked on idling trains my entire life. I've never felt it more than a track over.
Okay.
I just, it's the big, heavy, moving freight trains that'll get that, but just sitting and idling, I've never felt it more than a track away.
Okay. Oil and fuel, of course, now we have water wells near there, and so from the standpoint of health and safety and welfare, of course, is one of our major charges sitting here. What is in place to ensure that if indeed there is a spillage, and we're hoping that there isn't, what's in place to safeguard against such a thing happening?
Any fueling facility, and I'll start and you can help me, but any fueling facility that's designed today, which has catch-alls, catch basins and things built in. We'll have, we have emergency spill plans. We have those already. I mean, if a gallon of fluid hits my right-of-way, I've got Aptum, who is my environmental contractor, who goes and cleans that up, and we have to report it. We report it to the EPA, we report it to the FRA. But especially a new facility like this, there's in the design, a lot of where it drives a lot of the cost of the facility is designing to make sure that these things don't reach the waterways.
Okay. All righty. Now, are there kill switches on trains? Let's just say that you get that can be done remotely. If somebody's get one of those conductors who are just
can't be
walked
done
off
remotely, but there's several ways to shut down a locomotive without going inside or anything. You can just from the outside, but it's not hard to shut down.
Okay. Do you monitor at some place or some station idle time?
I did on the freight railroads. We don't do that here because we're so small.
Okay.
But the technology is available.
Okay. Just not implemented in this plan?
We don't have any of it down here. We did it mostly up north, where we had freezing temperatures and things like that for the exact opposite reason. We wanted to make sure the engines were idling so they didn't freeze.
Okay, so what alerts you to the, to the fact that trains are idling?
Oh, we have people. I mean, this is gonna be a
Okay.
manned facility. So,
Okay.
yeah, there's gonna be
So
people
it has to be
there
done
that-
by way
yeah.
of someone reporting it, as opposed to just being monitored
Yeah, well, we'll have the
electronically remotely?
employees there, we'll have management there, so, yeah, it's not gonna be an, an unmanned facility, there will be people there to make sure.
24/7?
24/7.
Excuse me. Okay. Now, as it relates to the office, the proposed office on Dexter, are you retrofitting a building that's there, or is there some new building?
No,
that
it's
you're
a
gonna
new,
do? A brand new building?
construction.
Okay. All righty. Well, those are the questions I had at this point, and I'm
Sure.
sure as we go along, we'll probably have other questions, and we really appreciate you coming out and
Oh, it's my
taking time to
pleasure.
answer the questions and so forth. We'll see if there's additional
Yeah,
comments.
I got one more question. There's the picture of this engine that's on your folder. I noticed that, I know there's one or two, because I noticed them, I got the numbers that come through, but then there's the old ones, like the old freight train motors, engines. Now, this one here is quiet, I mean, it's quiet.
Yeah.
Because they park across the street from my house all the time. But that other one, it looks like the old freight train engine, when that thing sat over there, and I probably wouldn't have brought it up if it hadn't been for the mayor, but it vibrates the whole house. This one don't.
Right.
So are y'all gonna go to this type of engine, or?
Newer.
Because I know you already wrapped the old ones.
So we have, so the two styles that you're talking about are the GP38s and the F40s. You're probably, the more the GP38s will be more the ones that vibrate. The F40s were rebuilt about 2 years ago. These Brookville locomotives are going through the rebuild process right now. Our next locomotive will be the generation newer than this. So.
Newer than this?
Yes, we're going out for procurements and RFPs, and we've got, so we don't know exactly what we're gonna buy, but we have a pretty good idea of the features that are gonna be there. And we're looking at Tier 4 locomotives, it's cleaner, quieter.
Yeah,
It's really the best, the quietest diesel locomotive on the
Yeah,
market.
I remember when these came, the first one I seen, it's sitting right across the street from my house, and I'm thinking, damn, man, that's what they need to have. That thing was quiet.
Our
Now,
goal.
the older they got
Sure.
a little bit noisier, so.
So we're rebuilding them now. And our goal, when we make this locomotive procurement, which is, is gonna take a little time. There's no, like a locomotive lot. I can't go pick them out. It takes years to get locomotives. But with the new locomotive purchase, those older Jeep 38s will go away. They won't even be on the property.
Okay.
Are they built here?
Everything
Are
we're
they
buying.
manufactured?
Everything we're buying is manufactured in the United States. These were built in Pennsylvania, is where this one was.
Now, just-
Anyways, I mean, it's a daily thing for me. I've lived there I've lived in town since '56. And we've always been, every time we moved, we was close to that railroad track.
Right, and just a clarification, now, you stated that you're rebuilding them or you're replacing them?
We're rebuilding these and
Okay.
replacing others, so both. These Brookville locomotives that you see here, all being, basically everything from that deck up, where you see that white stripe, everything from that deck up is being rebuilt on these Brookville locomotives as part of an overhaul process and bringing them up to maintenance standards where they need to be. Additionally, we will be buying at least 6 new locomotives
Okay.
that will get some of the older freight style, the GP38s, off the property.
All righty. And the others will be wrapped to look like they're brand new?
Yes.
Just messing. Okay, thanks.
One
No,
more.
those new 6 are gonna be traveling the rail, or they're gonna be housed down in the Hialeah station?
They'll be
or
both. They'll be both.
Combination of both? Okay, I'm sorry, you had a last question?
One more question. I was working downtown in Kravis Center, and I came by, and I guess y'all have a little storage yard right there by, Okeechobee
Yeah.
Road.
Yep.
And there was one of these engines, looked like it was burnt out. You know, I'm thinking, that was probably a pretty good deal, a pretty big deal, I never seen it on the news or anything else.
We did have a locomotive fire about a year ago that made the news. It was some oil that leaked and caught on fire, and we were able to contain it very quickly. No injuries, no passengers involved, anything like that. I don't know if that's the engine you saw. That's the only one we've had on fire that I know of.
But I haven't been down there lately, but when I was working, I seen it every day when I left the job. Never even seen it on the news or anything. I mean, the engine that big, you'd think it had been on the news. But it's one of the new ones, because it looks like this, the front looks like this one, except everything's burned out.
Everything was burnt out.
All righty. Again, we thank you so much
Oh, my
for coming
pleasure.
to present. Just a quick last question. The 10-foot wall, 20-foot wall,
20 foot.
20 foot? What's the material? Is that
It's
brick?
an FDOT material. It's a standard, like the highway walls.
Concrete? Okay, thanks. Okay, with that, again, a quick question here?
Yes,
Then we
and
gotta
it's
move on.
just a human concern. I was wondering when the Bright Line started, that would take away some of the ridership from Tri-Rail, but the report that you gave indicated it has not.
It is such a beautiful story that we're both increasing our ridership. So we are seeing strong ridership numbers. Brightline is seeing strong ridership numbers, and so there is, for us here in South Florida, a very good news story for rail ridership. It's good news all the way around.
Oh, great. Okay. And speaking of Brightline, and I'm sure that your public safety is paramount with your company as well. Of course, we all know the story of someone who was on a platform and decided to kind of take a train without buying a ticket, so to speak.
We have it more
So
often
you're
than
making sure that that doesn't
we have it
happen
more
here.
often than than I think anybody would want to know.
Yeah.
We train our folks. We had an incident just 2 weeks ago at our Metro transfer station where our security guard recognized the behavior, saw the man getting ready to go in front of the train, made the call to the engineer. Engineer stops the train to come over, get some help, get some some local people to come over there and help. But we have it more often than
yes.
anyone, and so we're ever vigilant for trespassers, camps. Obviously the road crossings are an issue. We have the quad gates, and we have and we're upgrading over the next year and a half to 2 years. This will be something that hopefully you'll never even notice, but we're upgrading the computer processors and everything that work inside those crossing houses. So, like back in the old days, you had a little circuit that went out 1,200 feet, and as soon as the steel wheels hit it, the gates came down, right? Well, now if you want to have quiet zones and things like that, you have to be a little more advanced. So we have, these processors, they go out for miles and they pick up the speed of the train, and then they calculate, okay, the train's going 79 miles an hour. I need to start the gates running at this point in time, and so we are updating all of those processors, because as those age, the older relay-based processors can sometimes be unreliable. And if you ever pull up to a railroad crossing, you see the gates come down, and then they go up, and there's no train. That's a problem, right? So over the next year and a half, we're going through, I think, 50 crossings and upgrading all of that equipment to make those gates and the crossings more reliable.
Good. Okay, yeah, because we just want to make sure that those potentialities don't become realities.
It
much-
is
while
everyone's
we're
worst
building,
nightmare.
so.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Okay, again, we thank you so much, and
again.
thanks so much for the presentation and opportunity to be able to ask some questions. Okay?
I just
All
wanted
righty.
to ask, I see one question
Yes.
from the public.
Okay,
But
we'll
I do
take
want
this
to ask
one.
about your employee base. You will be bringing all the trained employees in, or can somebody in Magnolia Park apply for a position to work there?
So we're applying, we're hiring now.
Okay.
Unfortunately, jobs are a little further south, harder to get to, but we have a train that goes there. But to answer your question, yes, there's going to be hiring up here, and we have contractors that do the train servicing. We have contractors do light repair work. We have contractors do cleaning. We have contractors do all those things. We need people now.
Okay.
So as these jobs open up here, they will absolutely be open up to people from here. Yeah.
All righty.
Great,
And so
thank you.
persons interested can just go to your website and
It'll
they'll
be
have
our
information
website,
there?
and then we on our website where you see where they're hiring, you see where our so a lot of this we contract out. So we have Herzog and Transdev and Aptum an Allied Universal or some of our larger contractors
Mhm.
who would do all the frontline hiring of people.
Okay,
Yeah,
well, certainly.
absolutely.
So if anyone's interested, or if anyone's listening
They're good jobs.
online, would just come into the office and the town manager will assist. Okay? All right, thanks, we appreciate it. We'll take this one question here, then we'll move in the agenda. Mhm.
To put the barrier walls up. So the goal is to start construction in 2025. So if you look at the last page on that presentation, it gives a schedule of activities. So construction is expected to start around that time, and like I said earlier, one of our goals is to get that wall up first. We really want to get that wall up first for multiple reasons. One is to mitigate construction noise that we talked about. And the second thing is it's going to be, it's in an awkward place because there's active trains going through. So there will be some noise installing that, but we want to get that wall up first.
Okay, all righty. Again, I'm sure there's other questions, but in the interest of time, thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very
Well,
much
thanks so
for
much
having me.
coming in.
Ken, thank you for inviting me, and it was a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Thank you very
Okay,
much.
and thanks so much. We look
Thank
forward to
you.
working with you going forward.
Absolutely.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Appreciate your info.
All righty, our next item on our agenda is items, 4C. And this is a SROA. This is a Storage Centers of America Town-Owned Water Line Relocation Update. And we have an applicant and presenters here. And when you come forward, just state your name and address for the record, please.
Bo Raish, I'm with Storage Rentals of America. My address is 15290 96th Lane, Northwest Palm Beach.
Okay,
As you know, we're developing good evening, everyone. Thank you for having us. Oh, can you hear us?
Yeah, that helps.
Better?
there we go.
Okay, now we can probably hear you
Okay.
better.
Thank you for having us.
Mr. Mayor, if I'm, and Council, if I can
Sure.
give some brief background on this. So certainly everyone is familiar with the construction site. At the beginning of the construction, it was found out that the town's public water line was actually not in the easement. So I think David, at our workshop several weeks ago, brought council up on that. And what I've asked Bo and Kenny, the contractor, to do is just to give council a quick update on that. That way, if you have any questions, you can ask away. Go ahead, Bo, I'm sorry.
Sure. So yeah, as you described, there's a 10-foot utility easement that straddles the property line, so 5 feet on each side. That's where all of our surveys, that's where all that infrastructure should have been. When we started putting in the drainage infrastructure, we started hitting that line well outside of that easement. Old PVC, it was very fragile. Once it was unearthed, it really needed to be replaced. We went ahead, we met with the town, contacted the health department, went ahead and got a plan to just start replacing it with, better material. And so, that's what we've done. We just did that on our dime, we're willing to work with the town on different ways to maybe help us mitigate some of that cost. It was expensive, but, we didn't want to delay the project at all. And, that could have taken a while. So I know that those were getting ready to, most of that infrastructure's in. I'll let Kenny talk more to the technical aspects of it. And we are, just about prepared to start making those connections. And, do you want to talk about where we're at with the current? Sure.
Hi, my name's Kenny with Conklin Lewis Construction. At this point, we've ran the new 2-inch line in the correct location. At this point, we just did our pressure test. We had both the engineer for the town and the engineer of our record from Simmons & White there to observe the pressure test. So that passed. At this point, we're going to be moving forward with our bacterial tests. That way we've got that documented. We've got to do multiple samples at different locations along the line. Once we get those tests back and show that everything's cleared, at that point I'll be getting with Ken and making notifications to the residents that would be ready to start doing a swap over of the actual service connection itself. The actual service connection, when I go to make the swap over at each individual residence, is actually going to be minor. It'll be a 15 to 20 minute type of reconnection from the old line to the new one. We'll do that we'll target to do that, during the middle of the day while most people are at work. I told Ken we give everybody about a 48-hour notice before we do it, and I'll have our on-site superintendent go and knock on everybody's door prior to doing that, each resident at a single time. That way if someone is home and they're in the middle of either cooking or or they got a load of laundry running, we'll, go down to the next resident and do that. So we're tentatively hoping to start doing that towards the in part next week. That way, we should have our bacterial test back by the first part of the week. I'm not expecting to have any kind of issues, so that way, very honestly, I can go ahead and get that swap over done, so I can go ahead and abandon the existing line to start moving forward with my drainage. At this point, the pad itself, as you can tell, we've had machines running back and forth for the last about month. We've taken about 3 to 4.5 feet of dirt out and replaced it and brought it up in lifts. So we're actually ready to proceed with starting the concrete work, but I can't get that started until I get that drainage in, just because with the site being so tight, I've got drains running along that north side where that water line is. So I don't want to get them trapped where they can't do their work. So that's why it was imperative to have Bo allow us to get that work started immediately, working with Ken on it as well. Okay.
Good. All right. Well, great.
Thank you.
Okay. So in terms of construction at this point, what's the status and what's taking place now? Construction is still taking place,
Oh,
I
yes.
see.
Construction is, we're actually about to get to a standpoint, I can't move forward with the concrete until that drainage is in.
Okay.
And so really, until, once we get that water, get everything changed over to the new line, that will allow us to abandon the existing line, because the existing line was right in line where I had structures and piping going. And we would, when I say this, every neighbor would have been yelling and screaming, because we would have been breaking the line, every single day. So it was literally impossible to try to get that section in. So once I get that, it'll probably take me about another 2 weeks to get that section of drainage in. And then once that's in place, our concrete vendor will be able to come back, go ahead and mobilize, and we'll start seeing form boards go up, start doing like the elevator pits. And then once those are in, then we'll start getting the main slab itself formed up and ready to pour.
Okay. Great, great. Appreciate it. Okay. Anything else?
No, that's it. Have any questions for me?
Absolutely. Now, the duck pond is going to be on what side of the project again?
The retention pond is on the east side of the property.
East side?
Yes, sir.
Alrighty. I prefer to call it a duck pond because we're hoping some ducks will come home on the east side. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
They'll find it, I'm sure.
They'll find it. They'll find it. Okay. Any questions or comments?
Yes,
I'm sorry.
I've had a lot of questions. People want to know what's going on over there. Thank you. I see there's I guess a portrait, or what do you call that?
Oh, the rendering?
Rendering, yeah. But that rendering doesn't match what we had on our design. So I'm just wondering, is that just a temporary rendering? It's not really
I'll
what?
double check. It should have, unless my sign person mixed up the project. But I'll double check. It should be. I approved them. That was a picture of the building.
Yeah, we've got split face. That split face block is basically on the first floor lift all the way around. You've got a couple towers that kind of peed out to give it some different elevation changes. You've got Bahama shutters both on first floor and the third floor, and then we've also got railing details at a lot of the windows. So that way, it's not just a simple window being stuck there. It's giving a little architectural detail, almost as if it's a balcony for an apartment building.
Okay.
And you've got the metal roof instead of just a standard shingle or something like that. So really, they've actually spent a lot more money on the finishes on the exterior than most of these projects that I've looked at before.
Yeah, those renderings were taken exactly from the boards that we used here. So I'll double check unless we accidentally mixed up the pictures or something.
Okay.
But
Maybe I need to drive around it again and get a better look. I was driving when I glanced at it. I'm like,
I can assure you we're building what we presented.
Okay. I'll look again, but this was concerned about that. I know there was a question from one of the some of the residents about the drive on 45th Street and the turn in. And I know there was some discussion we had earlier with, I'm not sure who it was here, that we talked about, a better turning lane for the enclave residents to get in, because really now it's such a quick turn. It kind of frightens me to see how they have to make that immediate break and turn in order to get in there. So, do you understand what I'm saying, Ken?
I do.
Has that been shared with them? How are we addressing that issue?
Bo, do you have anything?
I mean, we submit, whatever's on the site plan is what we're doing. I mean, I don't, you know, I don't know that.
It seems like, and forgive me, so I don't want to make a promise on your behalf, but it seems like on the site plan, that entranceway is widened from what it is now. And if I'm wrong, I'll apologize, but
Are you talking about on West Place?
yes,
We're not touching West Place except for once you come in onto West Place, then we've got kind of a larger area as far as coming into our entrance. West Place itself at 45th Street, we're not touching because when I say this, we don't own that road and that's not ours. I mean, right now, I'm not even allowed to access my property off of that until that gets cleared up and approved, signed off by the county, because that was part of the other development's construction.
Okay, I was thinking there was an agreement that there would be a drive turning lane, right in front of your building, right on the 45th Street side to help make that turn more fluid. Because right now, when you turn off of 45th Street onto West Lake, it's a very sharp, immediate turn you have to make.
You mean an additional lane?
Yes.
Putting
Drive lane.
That property is already so narrow. I mean, that was not something that we ever presented, and that would have killed our project. I mean, that would have made the project, because the property too narrow to actually build our project.
Just a point of information, what was happening during some of the conversations we had a couple of meetings and conversations, was not an additional lane, but the widening of the lane. At that time, of course, West Place hadn't been formed and so forth when the conversations was going. But we sort of knew, working, of course, with the Meritage representatives, that that was going to be sort of narrow.
Sure.
And so there was going to be a widening of it, of the turning lane, not additional lanes.
Yeah.
So whether it was 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet, or such.
I know when we actually met on site with Meritage, because obviously, once we start construction, part of the concern is, you know, if we do any damage to West Place itself, obviously, we're responsible for any kind of cleanup or anything of that nature. They had mentioned where you can see right now where you're coming off West Place on like 45th Street and all that, they were having to get part of that cleaned up just because of with their construction interest coming in and out. You can tell where some of that had to be cleaned up and widened a little bit. So it's our understanding they were getting that done and cleaned up and signed off by the county, and that's part of the reason why we're now entering off of South Place, because as of right now, I can't enter the property on West Place, and until we get further along in the construction process and we get all our right-of-way permits with the county, I still have to build the entrance coming directly off 45th Street onto our property. So
Right.
I understand what you're saying, but it's not necessarily something that I'm allowed to necessarily do.
Right.
But I think part of it was already being handled by Meritage with them turning that, when that gets signed off and turned.
And that was all part of that call that we had with we had a big discussion with Meritage, and they were very friendly, and everyone was interested in working that out and making sure that got cleaned up, and that there wasn't a sort of a, like who's on first when it came to, like, especially at the end of their project and the end of their project, where we're not pointing fingers and saying like, you clean it up, no, you clean it up.
Right.
And so we coordinated well on that, I'm sure.
Okay, great. And it wasn't pre-construction or during construction that it was going to happen, because it would make no sense at all. You're tearing up the road.
I think another thing what our site engineers and all did was, once you come off of 45th onto West Place, they widened kind of that area into where you dump off into our entrance on the west side of it. That way, it's not like we're having cars back up, or you're not gonna feel like somebody's coming off of 45th Street and it's gonna get held up by somebody with our property, where you could possibly get a rear end or something of that nature. So I believe that part got actually extended and widened, so it's a lot easier for somebody coming off to enter into our property, and made it a lot more traffic friendly that way.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that's what maybe from our designers probably interpreted and did.
Okay, and you guys have been very, very friendly, and we really appreciate it, and accommodating. What we can do so that we don't take too much time here, I know you guys are busy and all that, is we can revisit, because we abandoned the road, and we did that. I'll go to admit as well. We did abandon the road. Who did we deed it to, or we just abandoned?
Well, there was an abandonment of part of the SROA site that became West Place to accommodate kind of the bulb shape to make the roadway wide enough for West Place to come out to 45th Street. That's what was transferred actually to the town. But as you say, maybe there's a need to revisit it offline.
Okay, we can.
You know, we're happy to help and everything. I mean, I don't want to reopen up the whole site plan.
Oh, no, not at all.
You know, that could lead to a camp, but I mean, we'll obviously, whatever's on that site plan that was approved, we'll make sure that that's what happens.
Okay, and we appreciate it. And again, offline, we can take a look and see exactly.
Yeah, without having the plans, it's hard tonight to speak
Yeah,
exactly where I don't have the plans in front of me either, so it's hard to give you a definitive on
Absolutely.
where widening took place or didn't.
Absolutely, yes.
Happy to talk, came to talk about the water line, so it's really prepared.
Yes, and so that's the conversation
But
for
happy to
tonight.
look at it.
Oh, certainly, and we appreciate it. You guys have been very accommodating, and we appreciate that. Okay. All right, any other questions as it relates to the water lines, which is the discussion for tonight?
Just if I could, Mr. Mayor, while the rest of the council is contemplating their questions, just with regard to what I heard about timing and making the connection to the individual property owners who live right behind their site. One final thing that has to happen that hasn't happened, and I haven't seen drafts of it, but there will need to be a bill of sale. The town needs to accept that water line. So the next meeting is March 5th. That's very good timing. So if you can either get in touch with me or get in touch with Ken, so he can get in touch with me with whoever I need to deal with from your team to get that process moving.
Do you need that before the connection is done, or can that be done just at some, I know we were gonna look at some, kind of possibly help us out with the cost by either, there's some landscape mitigation that we can do that's sort of, some things that could save us money, because, that cost us that line was on our property, and obviously we weren't gonna just cut off the residents' water, we would never do that.
Right,
We
yeah,
just went ahead and, that was, $60,000 that we kind of laid out that we didn't think we were gonna have to, and so we've talked to Ken about possibly, maybe mitigating some of the landscape requirements or some other things that we could do to sort of recoup that a little bit, but I don't know if that all needs to be part of the bill of sale. What I don't want to do is hold up those connections.
Yeah, and those conversations about mitigation and cost, those are above my pay grade. My concern is legally, once you connect to the residence lines, the town needs to own the water line. So if something happens the day after you make the connection,
Right.
that's more what I'm concerned about. Again, the conversations about mitigation, those need to happen with the town and with the council.
Sure, of course, yeah. Well, I think we can just do the bill of sale and just, we can.
It shouldn't hold
work
up,
out.
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know if that was part and parcel of that, so.
No, they can be, more so it's just a timing of when you're expecting to connect versus when the bill of sale is accepted by the council.
All righty, so with that, if there's no other questions as it relates to what they're presenting here tonight, the water line issue? Okay, all right, thanks so much, we certainly appreciate it, and thanks for standing by.
No worries, anytime. Thank you, guys.
Oh, thanks, and have a great one. Okay, all righty, let the record reflect that Councilwoman Webb needs to step off the dais.
Thank you.
That's all right. Okay, so next on our agenda is item 5, and this is our Palm Beach County League of Cities meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In the interest of time, I'll keep it very brief. I gave you the date last meeting, but I'll give it to you once again, just for your calendar, but it is next week already, the league meeting. It's the 28th. That's next Wednesday, again, out at Wellington Community Center, 12150 Forest Hill Boulevard. And the presenter is the mayor of Cooper City, Greg Ross. He's the president of the Florida League of Cities, and he's going to be talking about serving our cities. Is his presentation.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Any questions or comments for the meeting? If not, our next item is item 7A, and this is consideration for an approval renewal contract between the town of Magnolia Park and Generator Supercenter for routine servicing of the town's generators. Ken?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Councilman McConnell, so what we have in your packet is the renewal for an existing agreement with Generator Supercenter. So I can tell you this in a nutshell, they did not increase pricing. They're keeping their pricing the same. It is a total of $8,634.60. What this gets us is an annual inspection, making sure everything is flowing right, working right with the generator. So we have 9 generators. They will come and check out all of them. If there's something that's not functioning properly, they give each one of them a 30-minute test while they're here. So this company's been good. We've used 3 different companies. This group has been the most responsive. So we would recommend approval of the renewal. I'll be happy to answer any questions. Just briefly, I can tell you that the generators will take care of lift stations at Burke Oil, Channel 12, lift station number 8, which we refer to as Bernie's Pub, the master lift station, our lift station at the Highlight property, Tiffany Lakes, at Hill Avenue. There is a water plant generator that's pretty big and significant, and we need that one very much to turn on once power goes out. Well number 6, which is at the park, that's also included there. So what they will do is a multi-point inspection, oil and oil filter replacement, generator load test, and a gas system pressure test. So I'll be happy to answer any questions, but we certainly recommend approval.
Thank you so much. You've heard the presentation. Amity, have anything?
Just one clarification, just to mention, you did enter into an agreement with this vendor back in August of 2022, so should you approve the renewal tonight, just note that approval would be retroactive back to August 2023 and would take you through August 2024. The previous agreement from 2022 does allow for renewal by mutual agreement of the parties, so should the council approve it, obviously if the vendor signs it, that's their approval. But I just wanted to make sure you understood that is going back a little bit in time. And as Ken said, the rates are the same. And the proposals that you have before you, both he and I checked them against your 2022 agreement, and the numbers are the same.
Thanks so much. We appreciate it. At this time, is there any questions or comments by council? Any questions or comments? Okay. And the recommendation coming from staff?
Yes, sir.
Is for?
To approve the renewal with the Generator Super Center.
Thank you so much. So we do have a recommendation coming from staff to approve the agreement. Is there a motion to
So
such?
moved.
It has been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Has been properly moved and seconded that we, excuse me, lost my place here, that we approve the agreement. And this is with Generator Super Center. Okay, and this is for generator maintenance and monitoring agreement. So that motion has been properly moved and seconded. Are there additional questions on the motion? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Mayor Alberg,
Here. I'm sorry. Yes. I'm sorry. Long day. Yes.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman McConnell.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. That passes unanimously. Our next item is item 7C-B, and this is consideration of the appointment of the mayor and the town council as voting delegates and alternate to the Palm Beach County League of Cities. Ken?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Councilman McConnell, this is a pretty standard thing that we do on an annual basis, and basically what it is, the recommendation is always, and we've done this for several years, we need to have a voting delegate assigned to the Palm Beach County League of Cities. Typically, what we do is to have the mayor as the primary and the rest of the council members as the alternates. So that would be staff's recommendation.
Thank you so much. Recommendation has been made that we go with the process normal, that being the mayor and the town council, in the order stated by the town manager. What is your pleasure?
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, I so move that we approve the appointment of delegation as stated in the recommendation.
Okay, motion has been made appointing the mayor and the town council as voting delegates the mayor as the town council's primary, and then the other, then council as the alternates to the Palm Beach County League of Cities. The motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Has been properly moved and seconded. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. All same sign. It is carried. Thanks so much. Our next item is item 7C, and this is a discussion on the updated changes and adopted new language to the Town of Magnolia Parks Ethics Policy as recommended by the Palm Beach County Ethics Commission. Ken?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Councilman McConnell, this is just a housekeeping item, and what this is, I think back in 16, the Commission of Ethics changed some wording in their policy, their training policy. Now, Town of Magnolia Park also goes by this same policy. We've just adopted that. Since they made some changes, they would like to see us make the same changes or approve those changes for our benefit. Briefly, in paragraph 1, and this is in your packet, in paragraph 1, the requirement is changed to 90 days. In paragraph 3, it's changed from 2 years to 3 years to reflect the new terms for our council, and they recommend the elimination of paragraph number 5 altogether. Those are the changes. I would do my best to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you so much. Just a clarification, so the item 5 that exists on the document we have here, that's what they want to get, they're recommending we delete, or has been deleted already?
They've deleted it. They recommend that we delete it as
Okay.
well.
Alrighty, thanks so much. Okay, and Amity, you have any?
Nothing further to add, no, sir.
Okay, all right, thanks so much. So we do have that recommendation coming to us from the Palm Beach County Ethics Commission. Now, are they also requiring that we now go through the training again once the policy is implemented, or just that the
Anyone
intervals
that's gone through the
required?
training for this year, you're still
Okay.
good.
Okay, still good? Okay, great. Okay, with that, there's a recommendation before us. Is there a motion? Is there a motion to approve the changes, recommended changes?
So move that we approve it.
Motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Has been moved and seconded. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. It is carried. Thanks so much. Our next item is item 7D, and this is a discussion which is continued on the town of Magnolia Park's travel policy. Okay?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Councilman McConnell, so this has come up on a couple of occasions, and we just want to work toward a policy for travel, especially on the council level, but it would also apply to the employees as well. And this came up because in our budget, we do identify travel funds for council, but there's really not a policy that governs that. So we just recommend that council discuss what they would like to see, any discomfort they may have, and let's get a draft together and before you so that we can have this approved. I'll answer any questions you may have, but certainly encourage discussion.
Thank you so much. And you do have a draft document? You do have that?
No.
We do not, no,
Okay.
sir. I didn't.
I
didn't get it.
failed to call you. It was
Sorry.
emailed.
Okay.
Okay, my apologies.
Nope.
Okay, so what we'll do then, we'll have that sent out to everybody. And at the next meeting, feel free to bring in any comments, recommendations, suggestions, ideas, best practices you may have
Great.
that you feel is important to incorporate into the document. Okay, again, my apologies.
One comment to that, Mr. Mayor, if I could. So I've had a couple of questions asked of me one-on-one about this, and it's really impossible to come up with every possible scenario in a policy. And some of this, I hate to say it this way, some of this is going to be common sense. I mean, we would put everything reasonable in the document, but we really can't put every possible contingency in there. So just word of caution there.
Well, certainly. Any policy being developed, if you put every possible thing that can go wrong, now you have an encyclopedia. And so, as opposed to a policy document, so absolutely, common sense prevails. Okay. Alrighty, with that, we've looked at all of the items, discussion items, and at this time, we'll open the floor to see if for public comment. If there's any comment from the public, we'll take that at this time. And just as they're coming, our apologies, I know we're a little late, but it was necessary to have that dialogue that we engaged in earlier. So thanks so much. Yes.
Good evening, everybody.
Hey, good
I
evening.
am George Ferguson, Apostle George Ferguson, Senior Pastor of Power Prayer Ministry. I do live in the city of McDaniel Park. I'm a resident here. First of all, I want to thank you, the whole board, council, town manager, and all, excuse me, my pen dropped, for all the work that you do and the support you give us as residents. Mr. Mayor, I want to thank you tonight and Vice Mayor for when we was talking about the train building. I had the same question you had about hazardous water and all, and you all covered that. You also covered about the job. I wanted to ask if you all could get them to guarantee maybe a resident, since we allow it to be here, residents to get a job opportunity. Also, I had a question to check on that particular project. Would that bring more traffic of semi-trucks? How would they bring in their material, hazardous material, oil or whatever, or would they do it on rail? So that's a question that y'all could give to them after that too as well. I want to thank PBSO, Captain Thomas. I live in Hampton Court. Man, you all are awesome. We had a shooting recently over here on 45th Street. The perpetrator apparently came in our neighborhood, and they was on it, and they captured the perpetrator. Two of them, probably. They was there when the hour happened. They was there in less than 2 or 3 minutes, I guess, but they caught the perpetrator. Captain, with your expertise and your leadership, man, I appreciate that very much. Some folks was afraid and all that, but thank you again. There was one more thing I had here. I might have missed it. I don't want to hold up time because of time. I missed it. I guess I'll get it at the, oh, I want to ask, I heard, I read some material about a cemetery probably that the funeral home or graveyard wanted to. I don't know if that's up now or over there where they, the funeral home on Australia.
Silence.
Yeah. They're talking about it, and I thought about that. I don't know if, you know, we want to have that, that's an industrial area and all, you want to put a graveyard there or something.
Mr. Mayor, if I can,
Yeah.
I'll respond. So what it is, there's not an application or anything that's been submitted to the town. They've had some talk about crematory, not a cemetery, but that's the only thing that I know. And the last time that I spoke to the funeral home, they were not in any hurry to do anything. We've kind of explained the system to them, or, you know, the process to them, and I don't know if they're going to submit an application for that or not, but that would be really preliminary. But it's definitely not a cemetery unless something's out there that I haven't caught wind of.
Okay, last question. Do we have an update? I know the guy came about building his condos across the street here on the partial, right where the old gas station is, you know, the partial there. Do we have an update? Because I know it kind of gotten taken out of your hand because of the new policies in law with county. And I'm quite sure they could go above us now, you know, your law, I guess the attorney can answer that question too as well. But we have an update. Are they going to go ahead and get it done, or is it, I mean, it's a nice project, but I know some of the residents already had concern because of the height and all. And I did find out they changed, the county did change about height and stuff and roads where they can be approved without you know, any of us
So-
saying anything.
There's really not an update. I do know that myself, our planner, the young man that owns the property, and his planner, we're going to have a Zoom call on the 29th, and we'll see what his plans are. If I had to have a guess right now, I think he's going to move forward with rezoning and possibly developing that into townhouse. That's a guess, but I don't want to seem like I'm evading your question or anything. So what's important for everyone to remember about that, if he moves forward with that, and let's say the town denies that, let's say town council denies that, under the new local law, he can go in there without town council approval. I'm giving the simplified version, Mitty, I'm sorry, and basically develop the property anyway. I think his intention, as he stated when he was here, was to work with the town. But as of right now, I can't state for certain what his plans are. But I'll know a little bit more after the 29th.
All right, thank you. I really appreciate you all. Y'all doing a great work, and you can't come down. I do want to add, I remember this, I think you just got here, wasn't it? You just bought, you was here 2 weeks ago? And you just, we do have a senior citizen program. Town manager approved it, and we over there at the city, at the community center off in Australia. Address is what, 500?
5,000.
5,000 Australian Avenue, and we there every every Thursday for the senior citizen from 10 to 12:30. There's also feeding. Then on Mondays, on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Tuesday we there at 11 with aerobics, 10 o'clock with aerobics, and on Wednesday it's 11:15 with aerobics. So it's a bunch of fun. We sit around and enjoy one another. We have other things that we do too. We go to movies and all stuff like that. We're part of it. So yeah.
And thanks so much for being an advocate for that, but I don't think they're seniors yet. So.
No, he's 31.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. That's good.
Okay, thanks, I appreciate it. Okay, any other public comment? Yes, absolutely. Any other, okay, all righty. So any other comment from the public? Okay, if not, we'll close the floor to public comment. We'll come back to the dais. At this time, Ken, have anything?
Mr. Mayor, I'm gonna read a statement just to put it on public record, and I know we have residents here, and I think everyone should hear this. So just want to state publicly, there's not an issue with Town of Mangonia water supply. I think we've had some citizens that have gotten confused with maybe some issues that some of our neighbors are having. As the mayor likes to say, we make our own water here. This is our water. It comes out of our soil. So we're not having any water issues that may be affecting our neighbors. Our water is tested in 9 different locations on a daily basis. An independent lab tests that, and because it's an independent lab by law, they have to send those results directly to the health department. So that is an everyday process. The town has not had really, I can say in 10 years, any issues with water that would be of a health concern. We've had a few boil water notices because we've had a water main break on a couple of occasions, and we've had the pressure went down. So when that happens, you do boil the water for about 48 hours. Our water's good. We stand by it. Again, our neighbors, we wish them well in resolving their issues. Certainly, the quicker the better, and we feel for their citizens. Our citizens have no worries. So I just wanted to go on record for saying that. And I will say for town council, public safety and clean water are their 2 highest priorities. I know in the 8 years that I've been here, town council has made a lot of improvements to that water plant. So we stand behind the water quality. And the only other thing I have for tonight is the vice mayor keeps reminding me, I have an evaluation due or overdue. And I think back in the fall, the mayor distributed those forms, and I guess you've forgotten, I've forgotten, the vice mayor didn't forget. So I'm reminding everyone that, Mayor, if you want to set not to put you on the spot, if you want to set a time frame for those to come back, the process is you fill them out, come meet with me one-on-one, and we go from there. So that's all I have for tonight, sir.
And certainly, just by way of administrative rule, if you will, they should be done within 30 days on either side, and we're beyond that. So So if we can try and get those, we've already gone beyond that. So if we can get those in at least by the 5th of next month, 5th of next month, we'll set that.
That would be
Okay.
great.
Anything else, Ken?
No, sir, that's
Okay,
all I
well,
have.
thanks. Captain? Okay. All righty, any questions or comments for the captain? Okay, all right, thanks so much. Amity, you have anything?
Nothing specific, thank you, sir.
Okay, all right, thanks. Councilman McConnell? Okay, Vice Mayor?
I just was very concerned with our housing issues that came up tonight, and I would like to see if we could put plans together for a community issues forum for low housing and affordable housing issues to be brought out to the community, so those who have those concerns can get their answers, get their questions answered. I know we did a housing fair early last year that brought some information out, but we always want to keep people updated and access to what's available.
Certainly, and we did that the end of June of '23. I'd kind of like to stay on that schedule if at all possible. But thank you for
Right.
that.
That's lovely. And of course, we're going to reach out to Jonathan's office and have him come and
Definitely.
present before us.
If
And
he can come
that way
before
we
that,
can get the process started.
before that time, that would be great too.
Certainly, we'll have Jonathan come within the next couple of meetings and give a presentation.
Absolutely.
That's for
Before the-
housing and economic development.
And we want to do that before the money hits the street so that we'll
Mhm.
know everything that we need to. Okay?
Very good.
All
Thank
righty.
you.
Anything else, Vice Mayor?
That's it.
Okay. And I have nothing else for the good of the order, so at this time, we'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, so second.
Second?
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye, pose
Aye.
same sign. Thank you so much. Everyone have a great evening and for the rest of the evening and have a great week. And thanks so much for coming out. Okay,
Thank you, so
thanks.
good to
Thank
meet
you all.
you.
Okay. All righty, so I'll just close this out.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.